So sometimes when it comes to wrestling or being a professional wrestler, you need time off. You need to get off TV. You got to get out of there. They have to write you off in some way. And now we've got a video here that is 9 wrestlers who got written off in the worst way possible. If you guys would like to support the original creator of this content, please click the top link in the description to check him out. Show him some love. If you watch wrestling content on YouTube, you know who Whatculture Wrestling is. Stop playing with me. I will find you. If you like to react to content with us live on Twitch, check the bottom link of the description. You can join us. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. You never know when I'm live. That's kind of the whole gimmick. If you're a young one, you got to get out of here, though. I know the algorithm might have brought you to me, but I do not make content for the little ones. I use very colorful language. I don't want to get you in trouble. That being said, if you're on your lunch break, if you're just hanging out, guess what? It's you and I now. We're hanging out. I'm here with you. I've invaded your personal space. Sit down and watch this video with me. Without further ado, let's get this started.
There's definitely a way to write a character off TV that can positively impact both the product and the wrestlers involved, giving the latter something interesting to sink their teeth into, while also looking after the performer being written off. Look at Jade Cargill's recent backstage attack on SmackDown, for example. Not all departures are this effective, though. In fact, some wrestlers have been utterly humiliated or even found themselves at the center of some truly baffling twists on their way out the door for a spell. So I'm Gareth, this is Whatculture Wrestling, and here are 9 wrestlers who got written off in the worst way possible. Number 9, Big Show is counted back to being a babyface. This list will contain a ton of quite bizarre but unquestionably memorable exits. But this first entry was awful simply because of just how unmemorable it was. After losing to Randy Orton at the Extreme Rules PLE, a heel Big Show found himself battling against Chris Jericho on an episode of SmackDown back in May 2013. This would be Paul White's last match in WWE for a few months, with the Giant staying off screen for a bit before eventually returning in August and once again hopping over the heel-face divide. It's just what he did. So how would the company write him off TV here? Would Jericho perhaps injure his former tag partner and give him a reason to seek vengeance upon his return? Well, not quite. Instead, WWE just had Big Show be counted out after taking a code breaker on the outside and falling into the timekeeper's area. He was then smacked around with a steel chair for a bit before pathetically retreating to the back. That was it. There was no shocking angle, and it's not as though Jericho massively benefited from such a weak finish either. Who was this for? The whole thing just felt like it was lazily thrown together at the last minute. Something that wasn't exactly abnormal back in 2010's WWE. It was a fun time. This embarrassing exit was then barely...
Bro really just got dog walked around the fucking ring and hit by a chair and just left for months. Like, you too damn big to leave like that. If I got paid for every time Big Show made a turn, I'd probably do that. You know, it's really hard to keep track of what the fuss going on with Big Show. In WWE, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. That's absurd, man. My man was top 5, said, you know what? I feel like being a mad guy today. It's like black suit Spider-Man. Just pull up, got the black forces on. Someone's getting fucked up outside. Now I gotta save you. He's tired. He's tired. He let in face again twice since the video's stopping it.
Even referenced when he ultimately made his return to kick off a feud with the Authority, and most viewers had understandably forgotten how he was written off in the first place. It was that dull. Number 8, a clothesline from hell leads to time off for Sheniqua and chest swelling. In one of the many WWE moments that have aged like a pint of milk over the years, October 2003 saw the company write Sheniqua, the dominatrix manager of the Basham brothers during their BDSM gimmick, off TV by having her take a sickening clothesline from hell from Bradshaw. If that wasn't bad enough, Vince McMahon evidently thought it would be a scream to use that violent moment to explain the surgery the real-life Linda Miles had during her time away from the screen. After she made her return at No Mercy, Sheniqua would claim that the impact of the future JBL's vicious finisher caused her breasts to permanently swell.
Is it? You get clothesline so hard you come back with bigger titties. It's crazy. So yeah, they got me off TV for a few months. Man, that clothesline was crazy. Camera just goes down like, whoa. Said I gotta come back with the yitties. Matter of fact, you know how this goes, chat. If you got the yitty emo, We gotta do it for Sheniqua, apparently. We gotta get ya. Now. Yeah, it's so hard. She got a fat tit rib. I'm about to have to take a clothesline, yo. Gotta get these mosquito bites up there. Start. The breasts.
Yep. The only thing more uncomfortable than the painful dialogue poor Miles was forced to deliver when revealing her injury was the sight of the Bashams losing their minds beside her, with the two randy adults giddily celebrating JBL's handiwork. Yeah, this was not a good look. This was WWE writing at its juvenile and cringe-inducing worst, though Miles thankfully didn't have to endure it too much longer as she disappeared from TV in February of the following year before being released that November. It was probably for the best. Number 7. Brock Lesnar and Goldberg are booed and stunned out of WWE. On paper, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg on the biggest card of the year seemed like the sort of combination
the crowd, which is not behind us because they knew they were both for leaving, right?
Men had decided they'd had enough of the WWE life, meaning the Clash of the Titans would be their last before parting ways with the company. So WWE needed to think of a way to write both men off the product, while also just trying to make the best of a quite surreal situation. Making matters worse, fans caught wind of their impending exits before the match, leading to the Madison Square Garden crowd at WrestleMania 20 hijacking the contest completely. No one cared who won or lost here, with the rivals just gritting their teeth and getting through the universally rejected match. Determined to give the fans something positive to cling on to, though, it was decided that both Lesnar and Goldberg would be beaten up by special guest referee Stone Cold Steve Austin after the bell, with the two effectively being stunned out of the company that night. This should have been a hard-hitting conclusion to one of the most fascinating dream feuds of the era. But what ultimately became Goldberg and Lesnar's send-off was just one big disappointment in the end. At least they made up for it with their second stab at the program, though. What Mania match did live up to the hype, my friends? Let me know in the comments section down below. Number 6. A bizarre hit and run allows Elias to have pectoral surgery.
I'm still in their question
The
of the
pandemic
day.
era of WWE is full of bizarre occurrences. And one of these many peculiar moments involved none other than the brother of Ezekiel, aka Elias. The Drifter was coming off 2 victories over Baron Corbin, with one of those coming at the crowdless WrestleMania 36, and the other being a first-round match in an Intercontinental Championship tournament. Unfortunately, though, the strumming sensation would go and tear his pectoral muscle in the gym before he could compete in the next round. What a nightmare. But rather than writing him off by saying he'd simply picked up the injury in that first encounter, WWE had other ideas. In an attempt to add a bit of drama to a lifeless SmackDown at the time, Elias was seemingly involved in a controversial hit-and-run incident involving Jeff Hardy on a May 2020.
The hell? Oh no. They said Jeff Hardy was in a hit and run with bro? What? First of all, this car is in pristine condition, by the way. Yeah, its car is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. What the hell is wrong with these feet? Why would Renee be on to, like, as you can see, your bro is definitely on the ground. What the fuck?
Edition of the show. You know, the same charismatic enigma who'd been charged with multiple DUIs at that point? Oh boy. Elias then wasn't seen on screen again until October, with this tone-deaf incident kicking off one of the most uncomfortable feuds of the year, as Sheamus would continually shine a light on Jeff's history of substance abuse. And though it was pretty much confirmed that Sheamus had framed Hardy for that hit-and-run stuff during that dreadful feud, that still didn't stop Elias from choosing to target Jeff when he made his return, reigniting a storyline that most people had tried their best to forget. These were dark times. Number 5. John Cena is stabbed in a
they're
nightclub.
definitely bugging. Excuse me? That was... Wait a minute, flashbang? The fuck was that for?
Before he was starring in the likes of the Fast and Furious series, The Suicide Squad, and a string of terrible comedies, John Cena made his acting debut in a little film by the name of The Marine. You may have heard of it. To get that performance in the can, though, Cena would need to be away from the ring for a while. So WWE opted to write him off SmackDown by having the future world champion get hurt outside of the squared circle. While thankfully this wasn't another stupid hit-and-run scenario, it still wasn't much of an improvement. To explain away Cena's month-long absence back back in 2004, it was said that Cena had actually been jumped in a nightclub, and not just beaten up, he'd been stabbed, allegedly by Jesus, the bodyguard of Cena's.
What in the hell? So what in the hell? Come on, man. Did y'all keep mowing the company after he allegedly did that? Cause what the fuck, boss? What the fuck are we doing here?
Rival Carlito. If that simultaneously silly and horrific storyline reason for his spell on the sidelines wasn't bad enough though, Cena then not only opted not to press charges against the person who was almost certainly his attacker, he was also left suspiciously scarless. Why? Well, according to the star himself, the doctors hooked it up, whatever the hell that means. And after not wearing any bandage or anything in the immediate aftermath, he then oddly decided to finally throw one on after being punched in the kidney by Jesus. This was just so weird. A simple backstage beatdown would have likely done the trick, but WWE's insistence on taking things up a notch resulted in more than a few dumb
Those aren't even arms, those are orbs. Those are orbs. O-R-N,
if you hit subscribe. Number 4, Samoa Joe is kidnapped by ninjas. The legendary.
Stop fucking playing with me. This did not happen. Shut up. Samoa Joe kidnapped by ninjas. Shut the fuck up. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done with this video. It's done. I'm stopping it right here. That's it.
Samoa Joe found himself being written off TV quite recently, with the former AEW World Champion not appearing on All Elite programming since being driven through a wall by Chris Jericho a few months back. Somehow though, that is not the most ridiculous way the terrifying icon has been written out of a wrestling product for a spell. That honor belongs to the weird time that Joe was jumped by ninjas back in his TNA days. After losing to Orlando Jordan back in 2009, the star was not just attacked by this group of hooded individuals, he was also dumped into the back of a van. That van then drove away as quickly as it could, leaving fans wondering what on earth they'd just seen. But the answers to those questions never came, with Joe just returning a few months later when TNA desperately needed some.
He just came back with no explanation. He just shows up like, yeah, definitely I kidnapped. Shit. But back to wrestle, by the way. Definitely back to power bomb somebody.
Babyfaces, and the weird ninja angle never being explained. Joe would eventually claim that the original plan was for him to return as a psychopathic heel, and said that the lack of follow-up on the strange situation was because Vince Russo couldn't write his way out of a kidnapping. Sounds about right. However, Russo would later say that Eric Bischoff's idea was at one point to have Jimmy Snuka be revealed as the person behind the kidnapping. But when that didn't work out, the team just decided to drop it and forget about the whole thing. Joe never did though, even referencing the moment on WWE commentary back in 2020.
Ninjas. They clickbaited me with that entry. I definitely expected to see like ninjas.
Lita is humiliated by Crime Time after inspiring countless.
This one was fucked up though. Damn, Lita. Them yiddies is yiddying. Yo, ma'am. Please hook me up. Said it was Vince Russo that did the ninja angle. I don't think there's a place for ninjas to be popping out doing karate and shit and throw people in vans. That's crazy to me.
Performers to give this pro wrestling thing a try, and creating many a memorable moment throughout her career. Watching Lita receive her flowers over the last few years inside of a WWE ring has been rather lovely, and it almost makes up for the horrific way her 2006 retirement was handled. Almost. After being defeated by Mickie James and losing the women's championship to her at that year's Survivor Series, Lita's retirement match was completely overshadowed by a horrendous post-match segment. Even with the star being a heel at the time, it felt safe to assume that she'd at least get a moment to take in the crowd one last time before riding off into the sunset. Instead of a respectful goodbye though, WWE opted to write Lita off television in the most childish and inconsiderate way imaginable. Crime Time soon strutted down to the ring and kicked off a hoe sale, one that involved selling her stuff, including her underwear, to the crowd, all while she begged them to stop.
Why do they actually have her
something
shit?
Similar behind the scenes beforehand makes the whole thing even more difficult to watch watch almost 2 decades later. At least she's finally been treated with the respect she deserves in her numerous recent comebacks. That's something. Number 2, William Regal's confusing All Elite exit. Helping create the ass-kicking band of badasses known as the Blackpool Combat Club, William Regal seemed to be having the time of his life in AEW back in 2022. He eventually began warring with MJF on the stick, coming into the Star's Full Gear AEW World Championship match against the BCC's Jon Moxley. However, after those compelling promo battles with
Discord
Max and ultimately turning on Mox at the pay-per-view, things got strange in a hurry. You see, Regal asked Tony Khan not to renew his deal with the company, preferring instead to return to WWE. He wanted to work with his son and Papa H and all that stuff. AEW needed to write him off TV then, and had a bit of time to figure out a satisfying and effective way for Regal to depart. What Khan and Co came up with, though, just ended up being a confusing mess. Regal was beaten down by MJF shortly after helping him win the big one. Then, 1 week later, in what would be his final AEW appearance, he appeared in a backstage segment apparently shot before that aforementioned attack. Regal bizarrely claimed that he had turned on his old pals as one final lesson to them. Keep eyes in the back of your heads, lads. Like the veteran group hadn't learnt that one already, Will. And that he gave MJF everything he ever wanted to stick a target on his back and put him in a be careful what you wish for kind of situation. So was all of this some sort of
do the hidden Floyd challenges?
Plan to help his mates and
Mortal
ruin
Kombat
Max's life then? Who the hell knows? He probably should have just left this alone after Maxwell kicked his ass, really. But then he wouldn't have been gifted one of the weirdest promos in all Elite history,
that's
will
the
we?
true answer.
Dolph Ziggler throws down the US title because you don't deserve him, only to return a month later.
I mean, it definitely vacated the title and came back. That had to look stupid. Yeah, that definitely had to look stupid. What is my man doing? He said, yeah. They didn't want me to lose the belt, but also, I.
2017 came to an end. It was looking like Dolph Ziggler's time with WWE was also about to conclude. This show-off had been a constant presence on the likes of SmackDown and Raw for about a decade. But his comments on Edge and Christian's podcast around that time suggested he was weighing up his options, and perhaps even thinking about exiting the company at the end of his deal. Just some time away from TV was what Ziggler desired the most, though, giving him the chance to add some new layers to his character and return with a bang. So when WWE agreed to let the star almost immediately discard the United States Championship in the middle of the SmackDown ring after he'd won it, telling fans they did not deserve him, Ziggler was clearly hoping this would lead to some time off and something special later down the road. However, despite the bold way the frustrated performer was written off here, initially turning a few heads, it was soon hilariously undermined just a few weeks later. That extended spell away only ended up being about a month, with Ziggler showing up as a disappointing number 30 entrant in the 2018 Royal Rumble. He was then quick.
Why did they set him up like that? Having him come out as number 30. Oh my God. He came back and was like, yo, I'm kind of bored of doing this stand-up shit. This comedy shit not fun to be. Oh Lord. Hold on, man. Hold on. I like this wrestling shit a little bit too much. Ziggler and Amy Schumer hooking. Why did you share that knowledge with us? What the fuck? Nah, you getting too comfortable in November. Why would you share that? Bro, definitely just farted in the packed elevator and tapped all the buttons and stood in front of the door. Why did you do that? Pain lessons when shared? What the fuck?
Thrown out. What could have been the start of a pulsating new chapter in Ziggler's stale WWE career quickly just turned into another wasted opportunity. And the star himself, who finally left WWE in 2023, has since noted how unhappy he was about what happened post-title drop. He wasn't the only one. Have you enjoyed this list today? Then go and check out this 8 times Wrestling Carney's got out Carnied one too. Oh, it's just
I like that. That video good. Them patented oats. Yeah, I ain't even want to know about that. Facts. It gonna send us off with a frown. That is not how this works. I'm devastated. Taken aback. Defeated even. What the hell? I think, speak. Appreciate you guys watching the video with us. If you guys like and support What Culture Wrestling, if you're not already subscribed somehow, click that top link in the description, please and thank you. If you like to react to content with us live on Twitch, you know what to do. You know where to find the link. Don't ask again. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll see you in the very next video, unless you're a weenie. Unless you didn't sub. Unless you don't check your recommended. Then I guess I won't see you.